Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's time for a new racing wheel, but this time I found one really cheap. More like cheap to the cheap, and it was complete in box. It did have some decoloring with some parts, but doesn't matter, it doesn't spoil the fun. It's a Logitech racing wheel with force feedback and a USB connection. And I was just wondering, how is this Formula 4 GP racing wheel holding up in 2021? And is this thing worth picking up? And not even forget, how does it really play? Like, is this thing still the force feedback that we are like used to nowadays, or is it like something you don't want to have? Okay, so I picked it up secondhand for 10 freaking euro, complete in box. So I'm more like, oh, it's a bargain. So if the force feedback is working at all, you can see like this thing is complete with plastics, everything. It even comes with the freaking CD for the drivers for Windows 10 or, sorry, I mean Windows XP. Having a brain fart over here. And of course it comes with the pedals, the power supply, not something you need to forget. And we're going to get here, here it is, the Formula GP software setup. Yep. So I can say this thing is like a freaking collectible. The profiler, we're going to need this if we want to use the steering wheel in the future on some retro PCs. So, but there is nothing really special about it, especially when you're looking at the later models. This is like being back in the past. It's just going back to basics. This thing does have some interesting features, but when you're looking at this, I think it was also like a basic wheel you can buy, and back in the day these things were pretty damn expensive. Okay, so there is no shifter, there is no gears. I think there were some minor options for this, but mostly this thing was like a really cool beginner's racing wheel. Okay, so let's take a close look at the wheel itself and what you're going to get. And I can say like this thing feels really lightweighted. So this is like a lot of plastic fantastic. Nowadays we're going to have like metal part, but that was not the case back in the day. Alright, so it's a combination of plastic and rubber. And even after all this time, it is good quality rubber. And I must say like it even comes with some buttons over here. So especially if you want to use it for brake or NOS, depends of course what kind of game you're playing. We do have some options. The force feedback feels kind of cheap. And also the rotation is pretty damn basic, because it's a basic wheel. So fun fact, like using these, like say, ways to add the thing to your desk for a very long time now. Like they're always losing the same method. Of course now we're going to get the USB edition. It also comes with a different connection. You also need to double check. Alright, so it's still using the 24 volt power supplies. If you're going to get one without, you're going to have an issue, because yeah, 24 volt is not something you're going to get very easily when it comes to universal power supplies. Okay, here we're going to get two pedals. Yeah, there is nothing big of a difference. The pedal size is different. The travel of the brake is slightly different of the brake, like a different spring beneath it. Yeah, this is going to be back to basic. Look at this, like they're still using this phone connection. Oh man, this is really retro. And also at the bottom, there's nothing really special. Still, there are some grips here and there, so it will not slide very easily, but it is very limited. Okay, so the cable goes in here. The same goes with the force feedback at the right. But let's go, let's take a close look at the gameplay itself and just see how it works. Okay, so the first thing that I'm noticing with playing on a cheaper racing wheel, still the force feedback is noticeable, especially when you're using a game like Project Cars. But the only downside I find, like, it doesn't have the perfect force feedback that we have tried and had with different models. So for example, when you're bumping something, you don't feel it, and like you're having a very, let's say, not a great experience when it comes to the force feedback on higher speeds. So you can feel with the cheaper models, there is force feedback, but it doesn't have the perfect, like the force feedback what you're having with different models that I have played with in the past. But if you can find one in very good working condition, with or without box, depends of course. But the thing is, like, I find it a really cool racing wheel even in 2021. But if you want to get into racing and you just want to have like a better force feedback experience, you need to get yourself a better one, because this force feedback experience is not what I'm used to anymore. I want to thank you for watching. Consider subscribing, hit that little bell, become one of the Wicked family. It would be great to have you here, and I will see you in the next video.